just press.
Yeah, it's recording. It's recording.
All right, thank you, Mataji. I think I better put summary, Mataji.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
please.
Okay, so after this, it's just a mute and mute. All right, just hold the pot if anything happens to my account, my line.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Mataji. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Nama Om
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya
Sing it.
Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare Bol
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Try, Mataji. It's your should try.
No, that's all right. That's okay. I love it. Okay, let me continue. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Continue.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Very nice. Haribo. One more time. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Let's go for Prabhupada tune.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Rama
Rama
Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare
Hare.
Wonderful. Okay, let's go back to Prabhupada tune. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Rama.
Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
One more time.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna. Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare
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 Rama. Hare
Hare
Rama.
Rama. Rama
Rama.
Rama.
Hare Hare.
Yay!
Hare
Thank you. Very nice. Very enthusiastic singers. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. I'm so worried why there are so little people today. Kajay Mataji, Okay, so my line showing unstable. So Tamari Mataji, just be on alert, all right? Okay, let me.
Mine also a little bit same thing.
Yeah, okay. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Okay, can see here all.
Can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so welcome to week 3 of level 3. Level 3, week 3. Okay, I can see it's going to be very simple session today. Okay, it can be fast if everybody can just speak your, offer your thoughts, because we are doing lots of repeating verses from chapter 2 and chapter 15. So I think this information all in your fingertips already. Very kacang putih one, this one. Okay. So let me just tell you, if you're not very sure of the information that you have received in level 1 and level 2, this is the time for you to reinforce your understanding. But if you're already familiar with whatever you have learned in level 1, level 2, this is the time you can share with others. Okay. All right. So if you're not sure, then you can add on whatever information, whatever gaps that you have had in the past. Okay. So Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhatra offering prayers to spiritual teachers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविघ्नविनाश नरसिंहाय नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, so we are at our energizer section for a start. Okay, so remember I have asked, you have had so many questions in the previous session, and who do you go to and why do you go to, when, how, you remember you answered all these questions. We have, hold on, okay, welcome Mataji. All right, so I have given this question, this energizer question, a few days back, so that you could, observe if you had any recent questions that you have actually asked somebody, sought clarification from. So anybody would like to give me a particular example? What was the question and who did you particularly ask? Okay, it could be anything. Okay, material, spiritual, work, family, anything at all. Anybody would like to share? If you have in the past, like in the last 1 week, right, the last few days, you have had this bugging question and you had to get it clarified, and you have met this person and you have clarified it. If you don't mind, you can share with us what was the question and how it was resolved. Anybody? Mataji, Prema Mataji, Saras Mataji, we missed you. Do you have anything that you want to share with us?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
I miss you too. Okay. What was it, Mataji?
Any questions that you have had, all right, and you got this particular person to resolve it for you or answer it for you or clarify it for you, anything that you would like to share with us, if it's not too personal. You had this one bugging question and you have to ask, have to get a solution or clarification, and if you ask this person. So would you like to share with us what kind of question was that and who did you ask?
Okay, Mataji. I asked about this Ekadasi because for the food, right? I was being told that we cannot take brinjal because brinjal is considered opulence food. So when they said that I can't take brinjal because it is opulence food, so it is very. So I asked another question. If so, then what was it? Yeah,
Who did you ask, Mataji, that question on the Ekadasi?
I asked Amrita Mataji.
Amrita Mataji. Okay.
So I asked, what was it? I asked them how come we can something else, which is also very lavish food. So I asked why can we take this, but why we can't take that? And then what was it, Mataji? It was an interesting
Vegetable. Is it also vegetable?
Oh my God.
Ghee. Ghee is opulent.
Ghee, something Mataji.
Oh, you got to share with us, Mataji. Please share.
Yeah,
It's
very
good.
interesting.
We would like to know. Yeah, it's a good question. Brinjal is always the controversial vegetable because some people they use for Ekadasi because it's vegetable, but some people avoid it because for the reason that you have mentioned. And there are also like more strict rules on Ekadasi, like you cannot take you can only take a fruit or vegetable with just one seed, like mango or rambutan or like that. You cannot take a vegetable with more seeds like tomato, cucumber, watermelon, papaya. So these are people who are observing Ekadasi on a very stringent basis. But generally, Prabhupada's rule is that fruits and vegetables, because not everybody can have this access to certain vegetables, so they can just make do with whatever they have.
So
So
brinjal, there's a brinjal. If let's say we plant it behind in our garden, so how is it still considered opulence food, Mataji?
whether well, actually this is the first time I'm hearing about brinjal is being categorized as opulent food, because all the while I thought it's because it has many seeds like the tomato and cucumber, so that was what I was thinking. But whether it's planted, I think the planting area is not is a factor in this case. So I don't know how to tie that, whether it's being opulent, because I mean I don't know how to tie the opulence and where is planted. So otherwise I really don't know how to tie that. So maybe if you can clarify that, Mataji, do share with
No,
us.
because after I heard that it is because earlier I used to eat brinjal for Ekadasi. Then after I heard about this opulence food, so I stopped eating brinjal for Ekadasi. So, but then in my back of my mind, I was keep on thinking. I don't know. I always think that if let's say because brinjal is something easily we can plant. So how can it be opulent? So that was
I know.
my
I think
question.
opulent as in the properties. I think they're talking about the opulence of the properties inside the opulence. Sometimes certain things are avoided because it's very high protein. So these kind of things are avoided. Yeah, because of that, maybe the property is too much, excessive, something like that, Mataji. But that's what I can relate now. But I don't know. This is the first time I'm also hearing that brinjal is opulent. I never knew that. Yeah, because sometimes in temple we use brinjal. They make pizza. They put on the potato pizza, on top of the potato pizza. They put brinjal.
Like even Sadhguru, he also says that like eggplant all we shouldn't take because what it is it will damage our thinking level, something like that. I have heard before, but I'm not very sure, Mataji. So maybe it is all related, I think.
Okay, we don't have the doctors in the house to
Yeah,
verify that.
yeah, I also heard that Sadhguru was telling something that is damaging to the brain, something to do with the what yogi diet, this what
I think it
pranic
could be the
pranic.
reason, like how we avoid onion and garlic, because it's a very strong stimulants. That is the reason why we avoid onion and garlic for those who are very serious in spiritual practice. So it could be that. It could be that. And generally for brahmacharis, they are not allowed to take more than 3 or 4 chanas. Chanas means the chickpea. So the guys who are undergoing celibacy strict celibacy practice, they are not allowed to take high protein food.
Chickpeas means what, Mataji? What did you say?
Konda kadala, Mataji, kacang kuda.
Okay.
So these are all very high protein. If you look at the high protein food, the top is mung dal, then after that is chana, and then the small chana. Chana is a Hindi term, I think. So we call it chickpea, right? It's in English. Yeah, so very good, Mataji. Thank you. Anybody else has had any question in the recent days? Would like to clarify? I mean, would like to share? Where did you ask? Anybody?
I have a very simple question actually regarding Navaratri. I asked my sister anything to do with the religious practice, when it's certain dates and so forth. I always ask my sister because, my sister does everything and I just follow her. So she will call and tell. So there was a Maha Amavasya that Monday.
The Mahalaya, right? The
Mahalaya Amavasya. So I was telling I have to be vegetarian. So my sister said, if we can be a vegetarian now, but since we couldn't go to the temple, then my sister have done whatever it is in her side. She stays in Perak, Taiping. So she have done that Tarpanam over there. Then so if my sister do it, then I don't do it. So that's how we communicate in terms of
it's
this.
just one person does it.
Yeah. So usually anything to do with date celebration, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, what to
This is
padayal.
your point
Yeah.
of reference, right?
Yeah, padayal, sometimes we have to do certain things, right?
Oblations, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, Akka, what is this? And that's how.
Yeah, we always have this quick
Quick
speed dial, right?
speed dial. And furthermore, if she doesn't know that the Sivan temple Posari is quite close to my late mother, so we kind of have speed dial him also on speed dial
Nice.
also. So he will usually explain to my sister and then she'll get back to me. Yeah.
Nice. Right, so your quick dial and your point of reference to sister, and the next one is the priest of the temple. Very nice, Mataji. So yeah, basically we ask things that we don't know to people who know about it. So if they don't know, they will channel us to the next person that the person who might know. All right, so these are the things that we need to know. So we find out from the people that we know. Okay, so basically asking questions is the property of intelligent beings. So that's how we are different from animals. Okay, and what kind of question we ask? We ask philosophical questions. Okay, we ask so many questions to so many people, but has anyone, before you come here, before you got to know this Bhagavad Gita, have you ever asked anybody, who am I? Has anyone asked anybody in the past before you come here, who am I? Have you ever asked? Anybody would like to share? Oh, you never?
I wouldn't say who am I, but I have discussed with my friends, why we have to be born here? Like, what is the purpose of it? Allah just, go to work, come back, and stuff like that. No higher purpose, stuff like that. So I did had few discussion with friends. Then some was interesting, some people was dull when explaining. I just follow laugh. It is.
Oh, what is it, Mataji? Different people have different answers.
Yeah, different answer. I think I would say in my decades, when I'm 20, I used to say, yo, what am I doing in a hometown, Then in my 30s, what am I doing in this work, that kind of thing, usually I have that in my, all those, the decade, 20, 30s, 40s.
So did you actually find the answer, Mataji, satisfying to you?
No, not really. There's always changes. You see, the more knowledgeable, more things we acquire, knowledge we acquire. We are still not sure what we are doing here. So now I have a kids, and I assume, okay, this is the tiny soul I have to bring up properly. That's why I'm here.
Wow, Mataji, so nice. Right. Yeah, so you have given yourself the time to really understand the question, right? Why you are here? What am I doing? Right? So you found the answer now, Mataji?
Let's see, once you grow up, then there will be a question again, maybe in my 50s and 60s.
Yes, Mataji. That is why the spiritual knowledge there's no end. There's always many ways people can ask us questions. So we need to have a very comprehensive knowledge and understanding about these topics. So no matter how people question us, we should be able to answer it. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Mataji, share Mataji, you're sharing.
Before before I came to know or came into ISKCON, I thought that, I never asked this question, who am I? But I was thinking, it's so, I was, when I got myself a job as a nurse, that time I was thinking, I have been born to be a nurse. And then, see, I'm such a good nurse now. After I qualified from the College of Nursing, that time School of Nursing, then I was thinking, well, see, I'm such a good nurse now. And then if patients say, thank you and all that, I used to
Feel happy.
I used to feel so proud that I'm such a good nurse, so this is what I've been born for, and this is who
I see where you're coming from.
I am. This is who I am.
Okay, I got that.
At this age now, I find that such a ridiculous thing.
Oh my God, no, Mataji.
Oh, no. Thank you so much. You've been helpful for so many
what we
people.
do with our frontliners like you.
Yeah, man.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Very nice, Mataji. That's a nice one, that you share. You thought that you are a nurse and you're proud because people are grateful to you. And then after that, you realize that actually it's not ridiculous, but you only realizing that you're more than that. Actually, that's how you can really put it. You are actually more than that. Adukkum mele.
The light, the light of the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada bringing us into Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
That's mercy.
Correct.
And likewise, all the Matajis here are also here because of what they have left before, I think. So we are all just tagging along with you and trying to catch up with what God has instructed and left through the gurus. So, we also like every week coming to you and looking up to you. Today, what she will say, what, speak your mind, speak your mind. But I can recall that this is how we, or rather I felt. So Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Great sharing, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have heard from nice Matajis here. Okay, very nice. Thank you. Okay, so we are entering the week 3 today, and the topic for us today is who am I? Okay, who can recall the other 2 questions? There were 3 questions, right? The first was who am I? Can anybody recall what's the other 2?
I think purpose. What is my purpose?
Is that?
Oh, is it?
Buka balik nota. What are the 3 questions? This is the first question. Anybody else? Raja Mataji, why so quiet? Mataji, are you there? So unlikely of you. Prema Mataji.
I'm here, MJ.
Okay, remember the 3 questions? I remember you answering this question in the group. Bukan ke? Then I was like so impressed that you didn't attend, but you still managed to, I think you managed to catch up on the recording or something.
Who I am, what's my purpose, where am I headed? That's my questions.
Ini macam tembak je.
Pakai tembak, itu memang tembak.
Anybody else like to save us?
Not why, the next question.
Tak tahu?
Ish.
Okay, let's leave that questions. Okay, kita belik-belik revision sikit. Anybody else managed to get the answer? Why, who am I? Why I'm here? And then there's another one, right?
Why is old age, Mataji?
No.
No, why am I growing old?
Nahi.
Nahi hai.
Nahi hai.
Recap hai.
Recap hai. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to give the answer yet. 2 weeks ago, huh? Then how am I going to recall what you all learned in level 1? Oh, that was like in February, Okay, tak apa, no problem. Okay. All right, so You know, when you ask somebody, who are you? So we always say, I'm an auditor, I'm an architect, I'm a pharmacist, I'm a cleaner, I'm an editor, I'm an American. So are we all this? Like Indra Mataji said, I am a nurse, but I'm telling her, you're a nurse, yes, and you're more than that. Yeah, yes, and you're more than that, like that. All right, so let's we actually covered whatever that we're going to cover today. We have actually covered in length in chapter 2, okay, in level 1 and level 2. So by now all the answers information should be in your fingertips already. Okay, so before we move on, we'll just quickly recap. These are the questions that I asked. Okay, so let's recap. Put your answer in the chat or just unmute and tell me. The source of knowledge last week, what are the 3 sources of knowledge? You can put in the Sanskrit term or you can put in the English term. 3 sources of knowledge. Mataji's? Oh, very good.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Anumana Sabda.
Sabda.
Would you like to tell the translation, Mataji? What is Pratyaksha? What is Anumana? What is Sabda? Or anybody else also can tell.
Is it like a direct sense
Okay,
perception?
direct sense perception. Very good. Correct.
Illusion?
Okay.
Mistakes?
Not yet. Okay, now we go to Anumana. Anumana
is
Speculation.
Anumana, okay, inference, speculation. Okay.
Speculation.
inference, correct.
Okay, Sabda.
Speculation by inference. This one is
Hearing
from
from
authority.
bona fide master.
Very good. Okay, pass already. Now, there is something wrong with Pratyaksha. I mean, it's not always the best way to receive knowledge. Why? So this is tied to the defects, like Mataji said. How many defects and what are those?
This one imperfect sense.
Correct? Next. If you remember the boy with the glass story, right? If you can relate the story, you will be able to tell the all the 4 defects.
Illusion.
Okay.
This mistake.
Lies.
Imperfect senses, and because we have imperfect senses, we are illusioned, and because we are illusioned, what we do?
Make mistake.
Very good, Mataji. We commit mistake, and to cover the mistake, what we do?
We lie.
Lies.
Lie. Very good. Okay, all 4. Okay, pass already. Next one. What is the best of the 3? Prema Mataji, you didn't answer that day. Left it hanging. Anyways, I expected others also. So unfortunately, the others also didn't come in to save. Okay, best of the 3. What is the best of the 3? We know Pratyaksha has defects. All right, and because we are because of the defects, we have the tendency to make wrong conclusion, wrong inference. So these 2 are not the best way to acquire knowledge. So the 3rd is deemed the best. What is it? What is the best of the 3?
Sabda.
Sabda. Sabda means hearing from the right authorities. Very good. And one of the very important authority that we covered last week, what was that? It starts with V.
Vedas.
Vedas. Why? Why it is deemed as an authority? That is one quality that it has. It starts with A. Okay, Purusha is human made. What is the opposite of Purusha?
What's God made?
Wow, you're close, Mataji. It's like this, Aparusheya. Okay, not of a human. Not of a human. Okay, now when we accept Vedas, what is the faith that we are applying here? What that faith called?
Reasonable faith.
Yes. Okay, pass. Thank you. Okay, source of knowledge, Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Sabda. Done. There's 4 defects with Pratyaksha: imperfect senses, tend to be illusioned, commit mistakes, and cheating propensity. Best of the three is Sabda, hearing. Sabda means hearing. Sabda Brahman. Vedas are Apaurusheya, not of human. Accepting Vedas is having reasonable faith. Why we accept Vedas? Because we have reasonable faith. So how do we apply this reasonable faith? It has to be verifiable and it has to be sensible. So under the sensible, you have few things like credible. There are 4 criteria. Oh, what's that? Okay. Is that Madhav? Mataji? Okay, so let's go to the contents for today. So we're going to focus on this hearing. And then next section, this will be the large part of our sessions every week, right? There'll be one session. And then the next 2, 3, 4 sessions will be repeating section, but we have different information. Nectar of Holy Name, sharing is caring. This is actually touching on preaching is the essence and the importance of hearing. And then usually there'll be videos at the end of the session. Okay, let's look at this video, all right? Let me know, what do you think about this? Okay.
As a young child, Sarah says she was so afraid of fires, she kept a bag with her favorite dolls under her bed, ready for a quick escape. She was brought back to her past life to find out why she'd been so afraid of fire. Why were you so afraid of fire?
Well, I saw myself, I was a young girl, I was about 11 or 12, younger than I am now, and I lived in a farmhouse about 100 years ago, and I saw myself getting up one night, and I felt there was smoke in the air, and I was panicked. I was on the second story of a farmhouse. I ran out into the hall, and the only escape from the house would be down a staircase. It was down the staircase to the front of the house, and it was covered with flames. I saw flames crawling like up the banister and on the wall and on the floor, and I was completely panicked. And my first reaction was to find my parents. So I ran across the hall into my parents' bedroom, and by the time I got in there, I had run through flames to get through there, and my nightgown had caught on fire. I dropped on the floor to try to put it out, and I looked around. My parents weren't in there. I felt frustrated. I was panicked. I was thinking, why didn't they get me out? Why didn't they try to help me? I knew that I couldn't get out. I felt that I was choking. And then I think at that point I passed out. I don't remember anything more.
So this is why you feel now you had such a fear of fires.
I
now,
think so.
being regressed and recalling this other life where you apparently died in the fire,
Yes.
did that now make your certainly understanding of why you had the fear, did the fear then go away?
Yeah, it did. I unpacked my bag from under my bed.
With your dolls?
Yeah, I wasn't afraid of it anymore. And I had such a fear that if I saw a fire on movies, I'd go into hysterics and I'd cry. And I haven't had problems with that since. So I think it really helped. Whatever it was, it helped.
Now I wanted to ask you, having been regressed, recalling a past life, does it make you fear death less?
Well, from what I saw, death, it was over quickly, and it was probably 30 seconds of panicking and being afraid, but then it was over. I remembered looking down on the house, and once I had died, I just felt there was no pain. It was kind of a relief. So, yeah, I guess I'm not as afraid of death. If that's what it's like, that's what it really is like. It was painless.
Hi, YouTubers. I'm excited to give you an update.
Okay.
As a young child.
Okay, so we heard this little girl. This interview was in 1994. And you know, the other 2 kids, they were there. They were also having example of they have their own, what they call regrets, right? They can recall their past lives incidents. So this one girl, she actually explained what happened. She died in a fire in a farmhouse 100 years ago. Okay, so before we move on, I would like to hear 2 or 3 people, Matajis, share what do you think of what you saw just now. Just share what you think. Anything. What is your inference about this interview?
I think this is after death experience, Mataji.
Okay. So what do you think of this whole interview? Anything. Just free to say anything.
Her memory of a previous life.
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
her last memory of her previous life.
Right, that's like 100 years ago. Do you have any questions or do you wonder anything from this interview? Because from one person shared that means she's taken birth after 100 years. So what could have happened in that 100 years back? Did she go somewhere else and then she come back? I mean, these are the one of the questions that we received from other teachers when we are discussing about this. So I want to know what other things that you can tell or you can wonder from here. Rebirth, yeah, for sure. She got rebirth. What else? Some people think it could have been just a bad dream or nightmare that she had and she mistaken it for past life. Anything else you all want to say or share?
Maybe it's just one of her past lives.
One of her past lives. And then she actually, after recalling that, she managed to overcome her fear of fire. So all the while before this, she was thinking she's simply afraid of fire. So now that she know the reason is because she died in a fire, so there was like a trauma for her and she has overcome. So in that way, it's being pretty beneficial for her. That's what I think. Yeah, she got a rebirth as human again, not other species. That's right. Okay, yeah, so I think that's a few perceptions.
And there is a soul, Mataji.
Yeah. If she has perished in the fire, then who is she here now? Right. So these are some of the proofs that souls travel.
Yeah, there is soul, na? But that 100 years, Mataji. You see, the Kala time is for us and for the other. This one is like we have got like 100 years is their our time and theirs is just one day or something like that, Mataji.
Yes, you got the point,
right?
Mataji. You got the point. Yeah. You want to expand on that?
Yeah. So there is a time space. I think you will explain it better, like that different. One day of our life is like how many years of Brahma, right? Something like that. I've heard, but I can't explain.
Yes.
And also that that it is not. We all have taken birth, and she has taken birth as a human being again. For whatever reason that she has left her body at the point of death now. That's what I think.
Yes, you're right, Mataji. So the time, what do you call that? The time dimension in outside Earth is short. All right, like a moment of Lord Brahma's time for us is like a year. If you remember the moment Lord Brahma hide the gopas and cows of Krishna, he just wanted to hide them for a moment. But on the earth, 1 year has passed. So when he came back, So when he came back, he saw, oh dear, on the earth it has been 1 year already. So that is why Brahma can live up to his 100 years, but for us is trillion years. Okay, for him is 100. Our Brahma lives for 100 years. All right, after that he dies. But for us, it's trillion years. I think I don't know how many trillion. I forgot already, but it's in trillion. All right, so it is. It makes sense that she has gone somewhere and she has came back. So probably for her it's like a 1 second like that, but actually 100 years has passed. Or she could have gone to other species and then she has come back. We don't know. All right, we don't know. Like Ajay Mataji says, she remembered one of her past lives. Okay, yeah. So thank you so much. What else? Okay, we have another story later. Okay, now let's go and see this one. Please tell me, what do you see here? Similarity and differences. Come, let's hear your thoughts. Okay, I know you might be thinking both are good looking. Yes, you're right. You're not wrong.
Both are too expensive
to maintain, huh? Okay, both are expensive to maintain. Okay, some more Matajis. Okay, let's get down to serious comparisons. So what do you think?
One is thing, one is living being.
Okay, similarity, Mataji.
Smart look.
Smart, yeah. Okay.
Expensive.
All right, expansion. About their functions, how about how they function?
They both can move.
All right, both can move. Okay.
They both have mechanical functions.
Okay. Chemical or mechanical?
Mechanical and chemical lah.
Okay. All right. What do both need? This is a body, a human body, and this is a machine, right? This is a body of a car. So how
One needs petrol, another needs
Maintenance.
food.
okay, both need fuel. One needs food, one runs on petrol,
Petrol.
and it needs water also, right? What else? How about their senses?
Both need drivers, since the title is invisible driver.
Very good. But now we have this Tesla cars without driver, Mataji. So how?
I still got AI there, artificial intelligence to maneuver the car.
Very good. Ayo, you're so clever. So somebody has put in the software, somebody has put in the details. So either way, both need somebody behind to run. Now, what about this body here on the left? What does he need to run, move?
Food.
Food is the fuel, but what is actually moving him?
His soul.
That's right, the soul. Okay, right? So both need eyes. So what is functioning as their eyes? Eye for the human and the lights for the machine, the car. And then they need to speak, communicate. So we communicate verbal whatsoever, and then the cars communicate through
Signals.
Now artificial intelligence. Sri speaking for them.
horns. Yeah, Mataji said, what signal? Correct. Apa lagi? Yeah, I think that's pretty much we have covered. Excuse me.
Yeah, both go wear and tear.
Yeah. Okay, so the main point here is that somebody said it needs driver, right? A car cannot budge 1 inch without the driver. Similarly, the body cannot function without the driver. So all of you are correct. Okay, so we can always prove the existence of the soul, even though it's invisible. It is the invisible driver, but we can always prove the existence. So when we look at the first picture here, and we say the body is still there, but we say he's gone, poitane, he's gone, dah pergi. But the body is still there. Where has he gone to? So something has left the body that he cannot function as before. Okay, and then you look at the next picture. We always say my watch, my tie, my coat, my shirt, my body. We don't say I body. So in this way, we are clearly not identifying us as the outer cage. All right. So there's something. Who is the I? You have to have the I first to say that something is mine. Okay. So at this point, we know there is a driving force, a living force inside our body. There's somebody shared that one time His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj was speaking to somebody. I think it's Prabhupada speaking to Jayapataka Maharaj's mother, something like that. And generally, the term used is soul. But a person speaks to a non-devotee, somebody new, this Acharya, I'm not sure which one, Prabhupada or Jayapataka Maharaj, he said, living force. So you can call them an invisible driver, you can call them a soul, you can call them as a driving force. Okay. Okay, let's look at this one. So we are here. NDE means near-death experience, or OBE is out-of-body experience. All these incidents actually establishes or proves the existence of soul, the activities of soul. So these are the general proofs. Okay, the research, one of the guys who would perform research on this area is called Ian Stevenson. He's a psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, and he has investigated over 2,000 cases of spontaneous reincarnation memories. Okay, he performed researches on people who can recollect their past life stories, memories. Okay. Okay, this is actually similar to what we have watched earlier. And then if you have any stories, anybody would like to share? Because earlier I asked, right, if you have any stories to share. I have one story shared by one Mataji, but I want to hear from you all. Anybody? Maybe one or two. Anyone? No? Whatever you've read or heard, somebody in the family shared that they have had this kind of NDE or OBE experience. Wai Mataji, do you have anything to share?
Actually, I don't know whether it's considered as near death. I was this was in the US many years ago. I actually went swimming.
And you went swimming.
I went swimming, yes.
Okay, okay.
We were in a lake, so me and a couple of friends, and then one of my friends cousin has a kid, and she came with us, and she was only quite young, right? And I was holding her to swim, like I was helping her, she was paddling and all that stuff. Somehow I felt that the current was taking me further, like quite fast. It was actually a calm day, or at least there was, it's a lake. It's not even a flowing river. It's not a river. It's a lake.
It should be placid, right?
Exactly. So it should be quite calm, right? But somehow I just felt that, the water, the current was pulling me. And the first thing I thought, right, was I'm going to drown. But what I did was, of course, because I have the child, or my friend's cousin was there with me, right? She must be about 5 years old, 6 years old. So I thought what I did was, I need to get back up. So my face was already into the water. So I quickly hold her up so that others can see me, because there were other people there at the same time. They were all playing water, by the lake and all that. But somehow the part that I was stepping on, the current was bringing me down. So I couldn't even shout, I couldn't get myself up. And I pushed that baby, push her up on the, pull her up, push her up so that they could see her. And if they could see her and couldn't see me, they'll come to my rescue. So true enough, one of the guys came over and then rescued her and then rescued me. I would consider that as a near life, near death, or rather, if that was quite heroic. Was not nice, not easy for me to forget for a long time. And I vowed that time, right, that I will not take anyone swimming. I will just don't be a hero. In fact, we both could have been drowned.
But if you were not quick, then the kid would have.
Yes.
Drifted, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I think you've done what you could, right?
Yeah, I did what I could. I wanted to save her first. I had to save her to save me, so that other people could see her, because I was pushing her up. Of course, she didn't know anything, right? She was just thinking, oh, somebody is pushing me up. I'm playing in the water. I think she wasn't so much of a shaken, but I was.
It's good. It's good that you take the trauma into.
Yeah, I know. Because she's a kid, she won't know what's happening. She just thought that, we're playing hide and seek, or we're playing float, things like that. Yeah. So that, I would say that is it's been a long time. I don't usually remember it, but since you were talking about it today, I tried to remember, I did have this one. That was just this one time. Yeah.
So what did you felt, Mataji?
What did I what?
What did you feel?
At that time?
You're going to go or something like that.
Okay. In the water, I felt like this is it. I kind of think to myself, right? I said, I don't think God wants me to go now, to go to him yet. And I felt that there is still a chance for me to get up. At that split second, right? But of course, at the same time, I also need to push myself up. But the current was just strong.
So you never find out what the current about, right? I mean,
no. I think I was just glad to get away. So of course, we didn't even have to go to the hospital or anything like that. The
Oh,
guy
you're
did
fine. All right.
yeah, the guy did a CPR on me. I mean, I didn't.
You actually drowned. You actually passed out.
I wasn't passed out. I was let's just say I gulped a lot of water. Right. So I wasn't but he tried to get water out of me in my, so that it doesn't go into my lungs, right? So that was like I said, after that I really shudder, like I felt like, oh my goodness, I could have killed the both of us. And that was I can only blame myself for going into the water without thinking that I could handle it, and I have a child with me. It's not even my kid. Can you imagine?
I think it doesn't matter, Mataji. It's the effort, the thought that you want to save the kid, right?
Yes. I had to because she's, especially when she's not mine. So that was that lah. Just thinking about it now brings back a lot of memories. I would say, but I have sort of like, let's just say that I'm just glad to be alive. But I mean, if really that was the time, then that was the time when God calls me back, right? But just somehow I managed. Yeah.
Thank God, Mataji. We are glad that you are here with us now.
Yes. Now I can take Bhagavad Gita with you.
Yeah. So how long you did not enter the waters?
Oh, and then it took me a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a deep impression, I really believe.
Like a very deep impression on me, a deep impact, just thinking about it. But now I go swimming. Yes, I do. I go swimming. I take swimming lessons. I also, be very, very careful when I go outdoors.
Okay, so you have overcome your demons.
Yes, I have overcome that. Yeah, it's been quite a long time. Like I said, it's over like 20 over years. I mean, the kid now is big. She got married. What I heard. Yes.
Well, you must have been very young then.
Yes. I was very young. I was very young then. I wasn't married at that time.
All right. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry to have to share this with you guys.
No, we want that.
Right, good.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody else? Like
Me, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Okay, Mataji, my profession is actually I do prenatal and postnatal massage. So that means this is for mummies who are pregnant and after delivery. Yeah, so I go to their house and I have like Chinese, Indian, even Westerners, mix of all kind of mothers. So this is mainly about a Chinese Christian mummy. So she had delivered and she is assigned in a Chinese confinement center. So when I went there, she looked very pale and as if like really when you're looking at someone who is dead, there's no energy flow.
It gives me the creeps already.
Yes, she looked very, very pale and tears was in my eyes because I used to see her when she was pregnant. I used to go and massage. They are very nice people, including her mother and everybody, So when I saw her like that, I said, like, what happened to you? Then she hardly can move, barely can move because she was very weak. So she shared her experience with me, whereby she actually sort of like died for 2 hours. So she was having this is called postpartum hemorrhage. Like after you deliver a baby, your hormones sort of like goes,
right?
Yes, excessive bleeding. And doctors can't help her. Some 5 or 6 specialists were there. No one can see what is the problem, what is the issue in the body. So she went into coma, and then the doctors actually, as they're treating her, she can hear them talking. She can hear all kind of things happening around her, but she can't keep her eyes open. Then she said she saw a light, very bright light. And then she is like something like some magnetic force is pulling her upwards.
Oh my God, that's so true. It happens to so many people like that. I'm getting goosebumps now.
Krishna. Then she said, I was like, at the same time, I'm feeling like, oh dear, am I dead or am I going to die or what's happening? Is it the light from the operation theater? She was not sure what's happening, but she can hear the doctors' voices talking. And slowly they were like muffled and she's not clear about what the doctors are saying. Then she's already in a very high platform and she feels very light.
Okay.
And she found it that hole that she was first, she couldn't see a hole. It was just a very bright light. And then now she's like standing, but her feet can't touch any surface. She's not landing on any hard surface. She was just on the air, like
Floating.
under the, you know.
Floating.
Then she said she saw some of these people who she thought she knew. Some old Chinese people, some old men, and everybody there was old.
Okay. Her
And then
ancestors?
Ancestor.
yeah, maybe. But I didn't know anything what was that at that time, you know. So then she was like, they were not talking. They were just looking at each other. Some of them are just walking about, wandering, you know, not
She
even.
could actually see her body, literally?
No, she feels light, very light.
Okay, but she's not able to see the body there on the theater, the bed, something like that?
No. That part she didn't say anything.
Okay,
She's just
okay.
up there already. Then she said these people, they just caressed her, like touching her shoulder and caressing her head and all these things. The next minute, she feels like she can hear the doctor's voices again. Then she could hear her husband beside her holding her hand and crying and telling her, please come back. You know, our kids needs us, because she got two kids and she just gave birth to a baby boy. Yeah, so she was like fighting to open her eyes. She said, no, I cannot die now. I cannot die now. And that's when she said she slowly started opening her eyes. Then the husband was so happy. Later, like about 10-15 minutes later, the doctors all said, do you know you were gone for 2 hours?
Oh my God, that's, for her, it's pretty fast, right?
Yes.
So there was no pulse, was it? The doctors said they
there was
couldn't
no
find a pulse.
Yes, correct. They were all doing all kind of CPR and, you know, the electric thingy, everything. There was no pulse.
You know, yeah, I wanted to share that, you know, when she has seen all these old people, and usually for Chinese belief is that you are actually getting closer to the other side of the world, right? That means you're going there. So it is really, I believe, is also a near death for her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe it's an
actually it's
ancestral world
both,
or
right?
something.
Near death and also out of body.
Yeah,
Yes,
out of
correct.
body actually.
Yeah. And that was one thing. Then after she recovered, her brother passed away a week later.
Oh.
A week later. And that brother was like a special child, and he's grown until 25, 26 years old. Like that, he passed away due to heart attack. 3 days later, her mother passed away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a really bad experience for her at that point of time after delivering a child. And you know what, Mataji, after the mother passed away, 2 weeks later, her husband got a good job in Australia. Now they all migrated to Australia.
Good for them. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mataji, I think I just watched a nice movie with your
Krishna.
narration.
Thank you, Mataji. She's happy now. She's very happy. She's very
Happy to be
healthy.
back.
Everybody's
The
good.
children are there.
Yeah.
Right.
Krishna. That's
So
all, Mataji.
thank you so much, Mataji.
You're
So I
welcome.
can just share one of the teachers shared that, I mean, she's initiated the father is no more. So one time the father had, he was admitted in the hospital for some illness. And then like Mataji say, he also saw a very bright light. And then as he went into the light, something like that, and then he saw Prabhupada walking. And then he chased, he ran behind Prabhupada, calling Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, like that. He ran behind him. And finally, Prabhupada actually turned back to look at him. And then Prabhupada did not speak, but he gave this hand signal to, like turn back and go, like that. So it was understood like, okay, this is not your time yet, go back, like that. And then he woke up. I don't know how long was that ago, but this Prabhu actually passed away a few years back. Yeah, so these are the examples of near-death experience and out-of-body experience. There's one time I had this mentor, Vishnu Prabhu, and he also I was very new, so he was telling me these stories, he was also giving me proof that the soul moves from body to body. So one day he realized that he actually got up and he actually switched on the light. You know, it was died, switched on the light, and he turned back and he saw him lying down on the bed. So I don't know how he went back to the body. That one I don't know, but I remember him telling me this. That was the first time I hear that you can the subtle body actually there is a soul, and then the subtle body covers, right? You need the subtle body covers the soul, and then the subtle body is inside our gross body, which we can touch and feel. So he said that it was the subtle body that comes out from his gross body, and you know, switched on the light, and then he can actually see the gross body is on the. So I don't know how he got back. So this is the example that he gave. Okay, so interesting. Okay, so thank you, Matajis. All right, so there are many researches done on this NDE and OBE. Okay, let's go to this story here. It's a long read actually, so I can summarize to you. So this was a little girl, she was 5 years, and she claimed that she was none other than their deceased daughter Suman, who died of typhoid at the age of 15. Okay, so this girl, she was 5 years old, and she recalled that she was a girl of 15 years old, but she actually died of typhoid in 2000. This news is published in 2005. So you can see that she actually the gap, if you read the whole story, the gap for her for when she dies and she takes a birth, it was 1 year gap. Okay, it was not immediate, right? Sometimes you see in movies, right, immediately when father dies and then the son is born and then he looks like the father. So I don't think that's the case. Okay, so this is a 1 year apart, and she can actually remember the husband's name, the father's name, and she remembers certain details of the place that she used to live before. So finally they gave her the benefit of the doubt, and they took her to that place, and she could actually recognize the father and the mother. So now she's 5 years old. Okay, when she died she was 15 years old. So at 5 years old she went to the former family, and now that they know what has happened, that she is actually telling the truth, and she's actually the girl who died of typhoid in 2000 at that area. So what happened is these two family combined, and they're actually taking care of this girl. Okay, so there was one time she used to she will tell her new mother that I'm not this person, I'm not how she say, let me see this, she say, why are you calling me with this name Manisha, I'm actually Suman, you know, like that. Look at here, wo कहती थी मेरा, वो कहती थी means I'm telling you, मेरा नाम सुमन है, Manisha मत बोलो, my name is Suman, don't call me Manisha, like that. Okay, so on September 27, she recognized them, and on the 1st of this month, they brought her to Delhi. Since then, they've all been staying together. The two families plan to jointly bring up this miracle child. She doesn't belong to any one of us. She will get all our love, both her mothers say. Okay. So this is another proof that the soul transfer from body to body. This was appeared in Times of India, the newspaper. Okay, yeah, so we are talking about Sabda Pramana, hearing from authority. Right now we are going to go into the slokas that we covered in chapter 2, in level 1 and level 2. So I need your assistance. If I call your name, so please read the sloka or translation and just give a 1 or 2 liner of your understanding on this slokas. Very easy, okay, very easy. We have done this already. Okay, can I have Tamarai Mataji?
I, as embodiment soul, continuously passes in this body. From boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Yes, anything that you can remember, Mataji, 1 or 2 lines. Any point?
Hang on, similarly passed. I think this one is the most important thing is the soul, right? So I think the body is the one that decayed, died. So when we understand that the whole person is a soul, then when they leave the body, we shouldn't be grieving over the body. So
Right.
we should be, or at least now, it's easy to say, but I think,
Yeah,
at least we say that they are continuing their journey, adventure, So I heard somewhere, somebody was saying that death gives meaning to the life. Yeah, death gives meaning to life, so upon, you appreciate life when you die, right? So actually we are just make sure the soul go into another state, maybe it can be reborn, or maybe it can get liberation. So we should
Right.
be
That's right.
happy
That's
about
right.
it, I think.
Yes, that's right, Mataji. So the important point here is that, like you mentioned, the body decays. So the body is perishable, the soul is not. The soul is eternal. And then we take birth, like you said, we take birth. So this rebirth is based on karmic reactions. So the soul accompanies, the soul is us. All right, the soul is the invisible driver. As the living force, it moves from body to body. So yeah, the points here is that the soul is eternal, body is perishable. Mataji nicely put it. And we take incarnations or rebirths based on our karmic reactions. Okay, so we cannot dwell too much on this. Because very, very easy sloka, very important. This is like the ABC slokas of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, when our children very new to learning all this knowledge in our Gokul Garden, right? This is one of the ABC slokas. So the important thing is that even the children need to know that we are not the body, we are the soul. And what is the nature of the soul? That it is eternal. What's the difference? The body decays, the soul does not. All right, so when it transfers from body to body, even in the same body, the soul is going through so many phases: baby, toddler, kid, child, a youth, adult, old, but the soul always remains inside the same body. And then after the body decays, it jumps to another body. Okay, so you remember the parrot and the cage story, where the person always takes care of the cage but forgets to feed the parrot. Eventually the parrot dies. So like that, we don't want to just of course, we need to reasonably take care of our body because it is given by Krishna. All right, but we also need to nourish the soul. Like, I'm so thankful that you all are here. It's weekend, it's not easy to dedicate this 1.5 hour. Is because you feel your soul is important. All right, you want to dedicate some time and energy to nourish your soul. All right, the soul needs nourishment. Okay, next 2.17. Who have not spoken today? Cannot kacau je Mani Mataji. Prema Papu Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
BG 2.17. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Thank you, Mataji. That is one important point in this 2.17. Would you like to try, Mataji?
I think it says that our soul is not perishable. It will keep on rebirth until we reach the Supreme God.
All right. So that's point number 2. That is point number 1 there.
Indestructible.
All right.
Indestructible.
Okay. Yeah. So the soul is indestructible. It's imperishable. So that's 1 point. There's one more point here. Can you see this red font here?
Consciousness.
What can you make of this term here?
Oh, I see. When you are living, you have the consciousness.
Okay.
When we are dead, the consciousness is gone.
Okay.
Only the body is there. Only the soul will take another body.
Okay. All right. So what is the conclusion, Mataji? There is one term, it's called symptom. Can anybody recall something? Because I always use this word symptom. Anybody want to try? Symptom. What symptom is this? When you have certain illness, the doctor diagnoses that illness based on certain symptoms. So how do we diagnose ourselves that we have soul inside our body? The title is a great giveaway, actually. The symptom of a soul, the symptom of the presence of soul in the body is consciousness. The consciousness is the symptom of soul. Okay, so when you say a body has a soul or not, you have to look at the symptom. Apa symptomnya? The person is conscious. So when the person is conscious, means that person has soul inside his body. So this is given in the purport, right? So that consciousness that comes from the soul pervades the entire body, and that soul is indestructible, imperishable. The first point is consciousness is the symptom of soul. So please remember this. Okay, this is the difference between the living and dead bodies. Okay, so all this information, right? 2.13, 2.17, we are hearing from Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. So we are hearing this from through Sabda Brahman, all right? So we cannot find a microscope, go into our heart and find the soul. Where are you? No, we did not do that. We did not do pratyaksha, all right? We did not do that. And because we don't have the pratyaksha ability, we couldn't do the anumana, all right? We couldn't do that. But what we are relying on, the Sabda Brahman. Okay, 2.22. Yashodamai Mataji. Can I request you to read and then explain whatever you can think of?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
As a person puts on a new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. That means body can change, but the soul is the same.
Okay.
Just like change our clothes.
Very good.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. So that's the point. Basically, that's the point. Okay. The soul remains the same, but the soul changes the body. All right. Just like how we change dress, the soul changes body, and the soul can choose from these many species of life. So many. You can choose from plant or animal. Okay. You just have to set the right consciousness. You will get what you want. Okay. So changing body is like changing dress, and nobody, when you're given old clothes, when you're given new clothes, you quickly put aside the old clothes, right? So we don't lament for the old clothes. But however, like Tamari Mataji said, it's something easy to say and done. But we can always move towards that, right? So if we have come to that understanding, then we are undisturbed. We are called sober. We are not disturbed by the changes. So this information also we receive through Sabda Brahman from Krishna. Okay, so now we have characteristics of soul. We have somebody to read that. Amita Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Mataji.
Would you like to read and just give one or two liner conclusion on this?
The first paragraph, is it 2.23?
Yeah, all of them, 3.
Oh, all, okay.
Yeah.
The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. This is the characteristic of the soul. So, the first verse 2.23 is describing the characteristic of the soul. The second one, 2.24, is also the same. So what is the point they are trying to say is you should not grieve for the body. So if someone that you know leaves the body, means you should not grieve, because the soul left the body, since the body is temporary.
Right.
So that is my point actually.
Yes, thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah, so basically nothing can change the soul. All right, the soul is waterproof, fireproof, weapon-proof, windproof, storm-proof. You know, if there's any strong wind blow past, the soul doesn't jump out from our body, so that's immovable. All right, you cannot see it. All right, even though this is Sabda Brahman given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, and to be very specific, the size of the soul is given in Svetasvatara Upanishad. All right, so it is supported by scriptures. Svetasvatara Upanishad. Okay, this is where the exact dimension of the size of the soul is given. So these are supported. All right, so yeah, so we have gone through the characteristics of soul, difference of soul and body. All right, so we jump to chapter 15 here. Chapter 15 here, Kajai Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Right, thank you so much. Okay, so before I explain that, Wai Mataji asked a question. Mataji, what about when sometimes you hear people say his or soul is broken? So we can say that they're actually referring to their state of emotion. All right, whether you're emotionally energized and strong or you're emotionally weak. All right, remember Arjuna said losing composure, so he never said my soul is broken like that. Soul cannot be broken. So I think it's just a figurative speech. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not literal.
Not literal broken soul.
Yeah,
It's just a state of mind at that point in time.
yes,
Which is low, the lowest point probably.
Yeah, we feel high, we feel low. Yeah, that's the thing, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So Kajai Mataji, do you have any 1 or 2 points from here?
So basically, in one life, we could take a body of a human. In another life, we could take a body of a cat. In another life, we could take a body of an insect. So we are able to do that. As we are reborn, we can change the concepts of life, right? Because we have a human concept, animal concept, insect concept, and that. Having said that, we also have the sense objects, which is ears, eyes. We could have 1, 2 noses. Maybe our sense of touch is our nose, which are grouped together. So yeah, and that would enable us to enjoy a particular sense object.
Okay, yeah, so how we like to enjoy certain things predominantly in this life, so we will get a form that allow us to enjoy that way better. All right, okay, so this is generally the difference between gross body and subtle body. So earlier we learned what is the difference between body and soul. So this is difference between subtle body and gross body. Gross body is what we can see. Subtle body is mind, intelligence, ego that is covering the soul. All right. So whatever activity that we do, all our consciousness and our impressions are stored in this subtle body. All right. And this will take us to another body. Just like how air carries aroma. If the air goes through a garden of roses, the air will carry nice fragrant smell. Okay, however, if it goes through garbage, so we know what kind of smell it brings, so what kind of impression that is going to bring to our next body. All right, so one of the Maharaj, His Holiness Banu Maharaj, said that we are in everyday life, whatever way we are behaving, acting, we are actually doing that as a preparation for our next body. So we are currently actually deciding what kind of body we want next, what we want in the next body. And the moment that the body is complete, all right, we will throw away this body and we will get that body. Okay, so basically all our actions and thoughts will help us to form our next body based on our hankering, our lamentation, our desires. Okay, so remember that. Okay, is we have to be very careful because you are preparing for your next body. All right, so usually we are very excited to get new clothes, right? So like this, you have a huge wardrobe to choose from. That's exactly like to 8.4 million species of life. Okay, this is our wardrobe. We are changing dress, right? So soul changing body, like we change dress, so we have a huge wardrobe to choose from, so feel free to choose what you want. Okay, so even one day we change so many clothes, right? Morning we have different clothes for prayers, and then if you go work out in the morning, you have workout clothes, and then after that you go to work, you have a work attire, and then evening you come back, you have more relaxed, and then probably to sleep you wear your pajamas. So in one day, we are actually not realizing that we are changing so many dresses. All right, so remember, our consciousness is being carried to another body, and we are determining, like Mataji said, we are actually influencing what kind of body that we are going to get. If only we could do that to our life. I was just walking through. Yeah, you just pick, I want this body, I want this body. It's not that simple. Huh? What are the things that we are consciously and subconsciously doing? So all that influence. Okay. All right, so this is the explanation. The soul is here. It is covered by this 3 layer: mind, intelligence, and ego. And then at the outer, the most outer layer, we have our gross body. Okay, so yeah, we actually ended our topic of the week. Okay. All right, let me read this. The living entity is eternal and imperishable because he actually has no beginning and no end. He never takes birth or dies. Okay, this is what we have been learning. He is the basic principle of all types of bodies, yet he does not belong to the bodily category. You cannot categorize him in, he's supposed to be in this body, he's supposed to be in that body. It's not that. All right, the living being is so sublime that he is equal in quality to the Supreme Lord. So I'm going to explain this, yeah. Nonetheless, because he is extremely small, he is prone to be illusioned by the external energy, and thus he creates various bodies for himself according to his different desires. Can somebody tell me, what does this mean? The living being is so sublime that he is equal in quality to the Supreme Lord. Oh dear, are we really equal to God? What does this line mean actually? Can anybody share your thoughts? What do you think? It could be wrong. It's okay. It could be right.
It's like, you know, I think in Christianism, they said about, men are made in the image of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I right? It's correct. Yes.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So. So I mean, not to exactly to the supreme level of quality, but I think we can achieve a certain dharma, way of life,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mataji. That's a good chat. Anybody would like to add on in relation to the opulence of Krishna?
Is it, Mataji, inside our soul, there's Krishna?
Okay.
Is that the one it means?
Okay, not really. I mean,
Not
that is
really, huh?
that is a fact. That is true. But in terms of this concept of this line, it's very interesting. People think that I also can become God. So probably they misinterpret this line that the living being is equal in quality to the Supreme Lord. Are we really equal? Or is yes and no? Or is yes or no? Sejauh manakah kenyataan ini betul?
Benar.
Sarus Mataji, you are an educator, right? This is the question that educators ask. So when there's a question about sejauh manakah, first you have to agree, and then you come like, however, anyone. It's very important because people think you also can become God, and then you eventually merge into God and become God. Okay, so this one is called Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. Beda Abeda. Beda means beza, different and non-different. Beda Abeda, like that. Okay, so we are same as Krishna in terms of some qualities. Krishna is beautiful, Prema Mataji is beautiful, Amita Mataji is beautiful, Kajai Mataji is beautiful, all of you are beautiful. Okay, Krishna is strong, some of you are strong, Kajai Mataji goes workout. All right, what else? Krishna is wealthy, so some of you are very wealthy. Okay, what else? What are the other three? Fame, knowledge, wealth, strength, beauty, and renunciation. So I hope I didn't repeat any of this. All right. However, all right, so all the while I'm agreeing, right? So all these qualities we also have because Krishna is our father, so some of the genetics we also inherit, isn't it? However, we are not same with Krishna in terms of quantity. Okay, this is a important fact. Okay, we can be one in quality because Krishna is a big fire and we are just a small spark. We also have the heat, we also have the light, we also have the warmth that the big fire has, but we don't have the quantity as Krishna. We are a drop of water, Krishna is a huge ocean. We are just a drop of water in that ocean. Okay, so we can never become Krishna. This is a fact. All right, however, we have the qualities of our father. Okay, just like your children would have inherited some of your qualities. If you know a lot of things on certain thing, they probably know a little bit. Like when I do PowerPoint, my kids come and see, and that's how they learn a lot of things. I don't have to sit and teach them. They just see and then they know. So suddenly they can come up with something. But lots of nook and corner, they don't know. So in terms of quantity, I'm of course more than them. All right. So like this, we are one in quality with Krishna, but in quantity, we are different. Okay, however, people say that I'm so similar to Krishna. And then what happens? They become under illusion that they can control. They also want to lord over the things. But in that effort, what they're doing is they are engaging in activities and that's giving them the karmic reactions because they have so many different desires. Okay, so that's why it's mentioned here. Nonetheless, because he is extremely small, we are small, huh? You can see here the quantity. He is prone to be illusioned by the external energy, and thus he creates various bodies for himself according to his different desires. Okay, right? So that's how we inherit qualities from our Lord, but we are different in quantity. Okay, Nectar of the Holy Name. Can I have somebody read this, please? Who have not written? Oh, Shobha Mataji, I have not heard from you today. Shobha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Read the entire text.
Yes, Mataji.
Why is it important to chant? Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but also the Vedic literature says,
Hare Nama,
Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare
Nama Eva Kevalam,
Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva
Gadir Anyata.
Gadir Anyata. Kalau means in this age,
Nasti Eva,
Nasti Eva, Nasti Eva, Nasti Eva, 3 times Nasti Eva. Eva means certainly and Nasti means not. Certainly not, certainly not, certainly not. What is this certainly not? One cannot realize oneself by karma. That is the first. Certainly not. One cannot realize oneself by jnana. That is second. Certainly not. One cannot realize oneself by yoga. Certainly not. Kalau means in this age. Kalau nasti eva nasti eva. How do I say this? Gatir. Anyata. In this age, one certainly cannot achieve success by any of these 3 modes. Then what is the recommended process? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevalam. Simply chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Kevalam means only. Simply chant Hare Krishna. It is the easiest and most sublime process. This is recommended, practical, and authorized. So take it. Accept it in any condition of life. Chant. There is no expenditure, there is no loss. We are not chanting a secret. No, it is open. And by chanting, you will cleanse your heart. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, so this is the importance of chanting. Okay, So after we learn all this knowledge, we want to share. Sharing is caring. Anybody else would like to read? Yashoda Mataji? Yashoda Mai Mataji, you are there? Anybody else? Indra Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Yashoda Mataji, okay.
Cannot find the arrow to mute.
All right.
In this verse, the word Daya Jivesu, meaning mercy to other living entities, indicate that a living entity must be merciful to other living entities if he wishes to make progress in self-realization. This means he must preach this knowledge after perfecting himself and understanding his own position as an eternal servant of Krishna. Preaching this is showing real mercy to living entities. Other types of humanitarian work may be temporarily beneficial for the body, but because a living entity is spirit soul, ultimately, one can show him real mercy only by revealing knowledge of his spiritual existence. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jivera Swarupa Haya, Krishnera Nitya Dasa. Every living entity is constitutionally a servant of Krishna. One should know this fact perfectly and should preach it to the mass of people. If one realizes that he is an eternal servant of Krishna but does not preach it, his realization is imperfect.
Right. Thank you, Mataji. So we are encouraged to share what we have learned. All right. This is the best charity. Preaching is sharing what you have learned. Sharing is caring. Okay. You can do a lot of humanitarian work like charity work to help others. It may be temporarily beneficial for the body, but we have to understand, we have the understanding that we are not the body. Okay. You can do some reasonable charity and welfare work, but the real welfare, the ultimate welfare is to do something good for the people's soul. So how do you do that? Share the knowledge. Okay, so this is Ravanam. I understand it's already 9, but those who can stay, this is the last slide, last video, so you can stay and watch.
Soulfulness begins by knowing who we are, by knowing who it is who is mindful, by knowing who it is who is the seer, who's the hearer, who is conscious of all things and all beings around it, and in the way that the sun illuminates the universe with light, who illuminates the entire body with consciousness? Who is that? It's the self, the soul. And soulfulness begins by this awareness that we, the soul, are different from both the body and the mind, and that we're different from all the activities of the body and the mind, whether it's past, present, or future. Just meditate on the sky. It's all pervading, and yet it doesn't mix with anything. Similarly, a person in soulfulness, although seated within the body, does not identify with it or its actions. A soulful person is aware that these external instruments are at work, and yet he or she does nothing at all. In this way, the soulful person is never entangled, but remains always aloof. Now let me close by giving a practical meditation on how to cultivate soulfulness. Think of yourself as the driver and your body as a machine, an automobile. In the way that you're always different from the car in which you're seated, be always aware that you're different from your body and its activities. That's soulfulness. And that soulfulness leads to self-realization.
Right. Maharaj is saying we have to be, sometimes we say we have to be mindful, right? So we want to be soulful. Soulful means do activities that are very beneficial for the soul. All right, so we are encouraged to remind you all to get these small books to read. Okay, small books. These are very important books. Okay, so any question, answer? Okay, don't forget, if you can, have your chanting regular and you finish your book, you will be getting your certs at the end of the session, end of the course. Any questions? If no questions, we can call it a day. Sorry for overshooting the time.
Mataji, how about the level 2 certificates, Mataji?
I know, Mataji. I've already followed up with them. Amita Mataji, are you here?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, tolonglah sikit recommend dengan suami tu.
That is here.
Prabhu, are you there? Please come and answer my students.
What masjid?
Saras Mataji, கேளுங்க. The
No,
admin.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Our certificates for level 2, Prabhu, we still haven't gotten it.
Yes, masjid.